are, Ghoulies. Here we are once again on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Pearl is with us, and the most infamous horror host of all time in present history, of course, is Dr. Ivan Cryptosis.
Fresh from jail.
Probably. That's where they ought to kept you. Well, no, never mind. And you are yet to be certified with all credentials as a horror host, and received what was that? A discontinuation notice as of acting as a certified horror host without proper certification.
Exactly. Surrender my wig, surrender the glasses. They wanted it all. It was disgusting.
I can't believe it.
It's terrible conditions here. Yes, you got the cease and desist.
Oh, and more than desist.
Now, wait a minute. Who's the reigning authority on all this?
I have no idea. It was this Greek guy, Mr. Anonymous.
Mr. Anonymous
wanted my credentials and everything.
Oh, okay. Well, did you give him credentials? You don't have them.
No, I don't have them.
I'm
just
I
a
got 'em
schmo
either.
host.
Well, it's interesting in the horror host community, and we do love all those horror hosts out there, but there is some crazy, crazy stuff going on in the horror host community.
It certainly is a fact. There are some, and then there are others, and we all know who the others are.
Well, some are over there, and some are over here, so that they're kind of not either here or there.
And it doesn't matter, does it? Well, maybe it does.
I don't know. If you want to get the best seat in the restaurant at the horror host convention.
Yeah, that is an important thing, because when I have my food served up and it's on that little wax text paper, I want the best seat when I'm eating that kind of food.
Very well. Well, we do have a major open. We have to open the box. Drum roll, please. What could be in here?
Oh man, that's a pretty impressive box. Last thing circus peanuts.
There you go. I told you there would be dinner and a ghoulie.
Oh
There you
man,
go.
look at that. Where's the sauce?
Huh?
No sauce?
Sauce?
To go with these fine
always forget the
noodles or
sauce.
whatever they are.
I did order the Taylor Swift disappointing sauce, but it didn't arrive. So it truly did. It truly disappointed, didn't it? Whoa, what could this be here?
I don't know.
This is a major award.
Look at this.
I'm
This is
having trouble
pretty
with the bubble
impressive.
wrap.
Oh, it's got a
It's even they
It's
pop
got a
for a
frame.
frame.
fancy and frame.
Whoa.
Okay, before I reveal, let's get this out of here. There you go.
I
All right.
hope I don't cry.
We're saving the tears for the letter.
Oh, okay.
And just remember, no crying. The tears are mine alone.
Okay. I promise not to. It's a oh man, look at that thing.
Well, here it is. It's arrived. It's a major award. My Horror Host Hall of Fame award. After all these years, I've finally been inducted.
All these induced. You were induced.
That's not true.
I heard about
Well,
it.
anyway, there it is. Thanks to everybody at the Horror Host Hall of Fame for this major award. We're going to hang it in the bathroom at Kenosha Community Media Television.
I mean, this is all very, very nice. But, when I found out that they were running a bit behind or that they had lost it or the post office ate it, I could not
the
stand
Chicago,
for
everything
that.
we get here in New Munster comes through the Chicago post office. So sometimes, things can be messed
So
up.
some horror host down there could be pretending to be one of the induceds of the Horror Host Hall of Fame.
Well, it might have been a horror host in Aurora, Illinois that threw a monkey wrench into the Chicago mail delivery service.
If you say so.
Well, he's thrown in a monkey wrench on the Crimson Theater a few times.
Well, I'm thinking this is all very nice. The certificate and the frameability and the whole shot, all very nice.
Well, you know about flammability living in Milwaukee.
I do. Now, I wanted to do something nice for you. I wanted something that stood out, that was obvious. A piece of paper, it's very nice. I respect the horror hosting Hall of Famer and the Hignatowski guy and all that.
Who?
The guy, the runner of the Hall of Faming thing.
Higmighty?
Hignatowski. Yeah.
I don't know who's. I don't know who's
Anyway,
running anything
let's-
anymore.
Here's what I thought. I want something that's going to catch the attention of the world. So here, this
Oh.
is, it was supposed to be, I was originally going to be naming this the Lumi, but I didn't want to get in trouble with the people of the deodorant for the package and the
Well,
armpits
it's
and
it's
everything.
like I won an Oscar.
It is. This is called a,
Mark Ruffalo, ha! Eat this, baby.
this is the schmaltzy.
All right, see, everybody's drooling over Mark Ruffalo because he might win an Oscar, but I've already got mine, buddy.
You got a schmaltzy.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
You can display it wherever you want to. You can mount it on the top of your van. Oh, a hood ornament. Perfect.
That would be a great hood ornament.
It is fantastic.
It is. I've got a guitar that color.
Oh, there you go. You could mount this right on the headstock. Put it on your amp. You know, it even comes with its own travel bag with it.
Wow.
No
that's
expense was spared.
illustrious. Okay. Well, the awards are pouring in here on Crimson Theater. So, yes, quite amazing. Hope to get out there to a Horror Hound one of these times. Maybe they should have one in Chicago so it's easier for some of us to get there.
That would be nice. Mm-hmm. We could all hop in the same vehicle, too.
I don't know. All the horror hosts in one vehicle, that could get ugly really fast.
That it could.
What a clown car.
Huh? There you go. Well, now it's time for the tears.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I did get a Valentine.
Oh, no.
And, of course, this was sent by Dearest. It's pretty heartwarming. It says, "You will forever be my Valentine." Oh, be mine always. Not even mentioning Valentines. It's all about possession, which is so many percentages
I've heard that
of the
about
law.
you. You've been possessed
Yeah, well, you have
for
no
a
idea.
long time.
There you go. Yep. Dearest, thank you. You're missed on Crimson Theater. Wow, there you go. I mean, all the accolades are finally arriving. I must be
Finally,
near termination.
years and years of just going unrecognized. You know, you
I
just
don't know. How many years has it been now? 22? 23? 23 years of Crimson Theater.
There's a lot of mileage on that old hat.
It's not the same hat.
Same head.
Did you know that Ivan Cryptosis was actually a representative for the giant spider invasion?
No way.
Yeah, he keeps it under his hat. Terrible conditions here
Oh, man.
on Crimson Theater. Trying to bring you the latest in programming. And we've made it through the primary, hopefully by now, mayoral primary. I'd like to congratulate several of the candidates on making complete fools out of themselves. But anyway, that's how the process works. And everyone should know what it's like to be on a ballot on election night at least once. You thinking about running for alderperson?
I don't think I have the charisma. I don't think I have the charisma.
Yeah, but Lenny Palmer's in your district. Actually, he's only about a block away from your castle over there.
That's true. We're neighbors.
I
We're
know.
neighbors.
Yeah, right. When the breeze comes off the lake, you probably know for sure. But anyway, we love Lenny.
You like him.
Well, I mean,
I don't know him, but, if you like him, he's a friend of
he's
mine.
He's just kind of like one of those salty dudes, like Son of Ghoul.
Oh.
That you gotta love him, right?
Oh man, it's stunning my brain right now thinking about it.
I think Lenny's going to be at the 40th annual Dorian Gray Art Show, April 27th, at the Vault downtown Kenosha. Now we're still waiting to hear from your manager,
Let me ask him. He's in the bag.
Rich Peters. Freak Show
Yeah.
Peterson's in the bag again.
He's in the bag always.
Terrible conditions.
I hear tell that Cryptosis will be at the Dorian Gray
All
Art
right.
Festival thing, and will even be, he's even putting together some promo pieces that will show up on the Facely book thing and
well, that's
wherever
good.
you
Perhaps
wanna
you can
stick
be the
those
MC
things.
for this great event.
MC. What's that stand for? MC.
Mighty Cool.
Mighty
something.
Cool
no.
horror pitchman
Cool
of
guy.
America.
The square
me.
in the center of the art show.
That's me.
Interesting movie we got tonight. Well, actually, it's a very short movie, And as long as we're talking about Dorian Gray Art Show, we did want to do a tribute to Dennis Bayusick from UW Parkside, who passed away last year. And we were going to have his paintings displayed last year, but we got a snow emergency. So I don't know if the city officials did that on purpose just to sabotage the art show. April 27th, I don't think we might get snow then, but it is Wisconsin, so anything's possible. So this year we will have the Dennis Bayusick paintings for you to see. And it's all going to be a tribute for Dennis. We got canceled last year, but we got to do it this year. What we have here tonight is an interesting, well, Pearl, I'll let you explain the film.
Yes, so Chien Andalou is a French film by Salvador Dali. I believe it was one of the first films that he did, and it was, of course, a surrealist masterpiece. It's considered one of the first shocking horror movies ever to be seen in black and white. So we are in for something interesting here.
And it was a very interesting time because I got Professor Dennis, I think it was about maybe 2003 or 2002, what you're going to see. And what you're going to see is myself with Dennis. What we're doing is we're introducing this silent film, and then we showed Bucket of Blood, okay? Well, Dennis didn't want no part of the movie Bucket of Blood. I thought it would be good because Dennis always sort of liked Beat Generation stuff, the Beatniks.
Of course.
And I thought it would be perfect, but obviously he looked at Roger Corman's punchy title, The Bucket of Blood, and he didn't like it, and which is really interesting. I'll tell you how that all ended up later on in the film. But anyway, he comes out, basically critiques one of my paintings. He has one of his paintings in front of my painting, and the two seem to almost merge because, well, Dennis was the kind of professor that if you really followed his teachings, his style rubbed off on people, and perhaps mine was already sort of there in the first place. And I say all the time that if you had Dennis Bayusick for a professor at Parkside, and anyone that knows will agree with me, you kind of won the lottery for art training. I mean, he was fantastic. His paintings are amazing, and we'll see them in this segment. I'm glad we found this footage. Tip of the top hat to Nick Clapper for what's about to precede this annoying rambling of words. But anyway, here it is. And remember, the Dorian Gray Art Show, April 27th at the Vault. We're looking for models, filmmakers, horror hosts, maybe a couple of bands. Definitely need horror hosts. So Misty Myers, Freak Show Peterson.
Oh.
It's time. Oh, yeah, I know.
He'll show up? I haven't seen the old train wreck in years.
Oh, I just seen a video he did with some sappy acoustic music that he put out, but he looked pink instead of green.
Oh, man. He must be eating wrong then.
You
Must
know,
be those pizzas.
I can't stand those Facebook pity posts. I'm sorry. Anyway, what's the movie?
Chien Andalou.
Here we go. Dennis Bayusick, Chien.
Andalou.
How about Chien Godzilla? There we go. A silent Godzilla film with a surrealist approach.
Aren't they all?
What's that?
Aren't they all silent? Those Godzilla films? They just put the mouths in there to make them sound like people are talking.
Well,
I've
sort
seen
of.
them.
Well, sort of. I think
Maybe
you're
check
being a
your
bit
TV set.
harsh, my friend.
I'm known for that.
Uh-huh.
I try my hardest. to be
You
harsh.
are the ranking king of abrasive horror. hosts.
Oh, don't rub me the wrong way.
Well, you can't rub them the wrong way.
Oh,
You
yes.
can't joke with horror hosts, you know.
So I found that out sometimes. Yes.
You will find that out, let me tell you. Uh-huh.
I know which side the abrasive bread is buttered on.
The abrasive bread, my friend. You probably bake that better than
I
anybody.
have.
Uh-huh. All right, get right into it now. Tonight's horrifying melodrama.
Chien Andalou.
Good evening, ghoulies, and welcome to Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. What a treat! you're in for tonight because we got, what are you dreaming over there, buddy? He's already falling asleep and we even got to the movie yet. I'm sorry. Anyway, we've got the one and only Professor Dennis Bayuzik from University of Wisconsin Parkside, and he's got a big opening coming up on the 20th of July at the Anderson Arts Center at 1:30, you say, huh?
1:30.
And, okay, what's the main there? Yes, you've got to be there. The doc can't make it. I'm sorry, you know, I got other arrangements, unfortunately, but I'll come in and slip in there and check
Andy
it out.
Warhol had substitutes. Don't you have a substitute?
You've got, there you go. I think I'll have to find a Dr. Destruction substitute somewhere, even though I'm sure we couldn't pay any fool enough money to pull that one off. Anyway, would you like to talk, seriously now, would you like to talk about your works at the gallery? And, you know, you can flash on the painting a few times there, Ralph.
Sure. Well, this is an example of the series that I've been working on that's there. Still lifes, but kind of surreal, and they involve a lot of symbolism that sort of is recurrent and that is fantasy related. But this is one that's going to be shown elsewhere in Chicago or in Wisconsin, actually, that's not in the show. But many of them have my self-portrait in a whole range of kind of symbols, not unlike a dream, even though this didn't come from a specific dream, but they're dream-inspired paintings.
Dream-inspired. Right. Oh, boy, I'll tell you, what about nightmare-inspired paintings? I could tell you forever about that.
I enjoy nightmares as much as any good dream because it's vivid, it's strong, it's imagistic, and that's what artists look for. They need images, they need icons, visual icons to play with. And so, yeah, I hope you come to the opening and see the artwork. Yeah.
Oh, yes, Coolies. You have to definitely go check that out. I mean, he's a very, very poignant, strong artist, probably the best artist known to me, and I mean that for real. And I notice you do put your self-portraits in your work a lot.
Well, it's a tradition. You know, Rembrandt must have painted at least 75 self-portraits. So it's kind of a traditional exercise that I make my students do, so I do it. And they're all different mirrors and positions, even though I kind of work in the same spot in the studio all the time. But I always get myself in there somehow. You know, and you can even see me age in the grouping of the paintings because there's a range of work there from the last 10 years maybe. It's not all real recent.
I see. Also, I noticed that, you know, by looking at your works, they're almost instructional. When you look at them, you almost learn just by looking at the brush strokes and the techniques and the various glazes and things that you've done. And you really don't label your work, though, or do you?
Well, they're titled. They're not labeled. I'm not sure you mean on the front.
Oh, stylistically, or?
Well, I think they're in the spirit of probably fantasy, even though these are eyeball paintings. I set this all up in the studio, but the way I arrange it is sort of controlled by intuition and by the subconscious as much as the conscious as I work it up. So it's not unlike going into an attic and picking out things to, you know, some free association and arranging them to get some kind of symbolic connections worked up like this. And I always have a book in there. This book is called The Clown, and then there's usually some other wording. If you look hard, there's little, like this says job. So this painting is called Clown Job, and in a way I kind of look a little clownish here. It's related to some dreams. There's masks in my dreams, and they're clown-like, and so this maybe is related to a little clown down here. You can see that.
Yeah, it's too bad we couldn't really get into some of these closer because you have to go check it out at the Anderson because the work is phenomenal. And it's the only way I can describe it. There's always been something above average or far above average with your work. Just the way it speaks, the way it grabs you, pops out, and
I like how you said it's instructional because I've never heard it described that way before, but that's interesting. I like that from a pedagogic point of view. It's like I do try to show off different treatments, and like this one has a lot of texture in it. If you can, I don't know if they can see that, but it's very built up with the brushwork. And then yet there's glazing, and there's thin paint and thick paint. So there's a whole range of information here visually going on, and I like that adjective, instructional.
Yeah, that kind of hit me today when I was at the Anderson early. Oh, I let the cat out of the bag. I've already seen the exhibit, ghoulies. The doctor had to do some remote film work on his own due to the fact that the crew is very small and underpaid and hardly ever show up, and usually they're drunk when they get here. But anyway, we've got some footage of the show at the gallery that we can show now, and I believe we started out with those acrylic paintings on the east wall. We're not going to be able to see it on the monitor. No, we're not that high tech here. But if you want to talk a little bit, you know.
Well, there's a range of both oil and acrylic there, and there's some airbrush work. This is not an airbrush painting at all. It's all done with the hairbrush, not the airbrush. And but I use both. In fact, there's other techniques there too. I also have some little books. I do a lot of bookbinding where I involve painted books. In fact, the show is called Painted Books and Bookish Paintings, because in all the paintings there's some reference to a literary book. This is actually a pretty famous novel, The Clown, but it set up the stage for this whole ensemble of symbols here. There's a little purple teddy bear, which is somebody gave me long ago, and I kind of sleep with it once in a while. And it's in the painting here. So, and there's this crazy hat that somebody gave me, and it has a spiral on it, so that the spiral has become kind of a symbol that I use a lot. And so it's really filled up with symbols. I don't like paintings that are empty. I like, to me, more is more rather than less is more.
Right.
So I guess I like that visual density of information, not unlike a medieval book, you know, that's the Book of Hours, where they had the illuminations that filled every square inch. And they had a word for it. It was almost like a disease. They call it horror vacui, horror of a vacuum. They didn't want any empty space. They wanted to fill up everything. It was like a control method of controlling your field of vision, and I guess that's what they were trying to do. So I tend to do that. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to like be minimal. In fact, it's like maximal. It's like more is more. So.
Yes, I appreciate that. That's one of the things I like, and you know, it's hard not to appreciate it for you know.
Well, it's like your
what's
painting.
going on here.
It's like.
It's a little advice about that one. Well, we can do that later on.
All right. But you like an artist. You were inspired by an artist who liked a lot of visual stuff happening too.
Yes, Ivan Lorraine Albright.
Yes, Ivan Albright.
Yeah, we showed the picture of Dorian Gray, as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, Ghoulies. I think that was on just before the Godzilla movie. We had the picture of Dorian Gray. I rate that as my all-time favorite horror film. And, of course, the painting's a big factor in that. And you can see that at the Chicago Art Institute.
Yes.
My Ghoulies have heard this night and day. You can trust me.
Go there and see the other Albrights, too.
Oh, yes, and several of the other artists there. Can you name maybe some of your favorites, or do you take them all as equal?
Of course, I come out of surrealism and symbolism. Those are two movements historically, and I guess, you know, Dali is inevitably a favorite. I like his technique. He gets excessive once in a while, but he is a great painter, really. His famous painting of the melting clocks, the persistence of memory, it's called. Maybe we'll see it later, and maybe not. I don't know. But I saw it.
You never know on Crimson Theater, you know.
For sure. I always thought it was a huge painting, and then I went to New York City, and it's in the Museum of Modern Art. They have a whole wall devoted to it, but it's only this big. It's like 9 by 12 inches, and yet the space is so overwhelming in the symbolism of it. So he's an excellent artist. And of course, there's other surrealists like Magritte and Max Ernst and de Chirico and so forth. But I think everybody would know who Dali was.
Oh, I'm sure they know, big time. Anyway, you know, we got to get into tonight's feature. We dug up a great one. It's called Bucket of Blood. I don't know if you ever seen it.
Bucket of Blood?
Bucket of Blood.
Do we have to watch that one? I actually did bring a Dali film that I'd love to show, that I would rather show. It's a crazy Dali, the first surrealist film. It has to be a little bit historically more exciting than the Bucket of Blood. So I want to show that. It's called the Le Chien Andalou in French, the Andalusian dog.
And you're going to see it here tonight on Dennis Bay Music's Dancing Purple Theater. Now you get to the movie, ghoulies.
Louis Buñuel was already in Paris. He'd come into contact with the Surrealist group and had embarked on his career as a filmmaker.
It was at about this period that Louis Buñuel one day outlined to me an idea he had for a motion picture that he wanted to make, for which his mother was going to lend him the money. His idea for a film struck me as extremely mediocre. It was avant-garde in an incredibly naive sort of way, and I told him that this film story of his did not have the slightest interest, but that I, on the other hand, had just written a very short scenario which had the touch of genius, and which went completely counter to the contemporary cinema.
¿Y cómo fue la experiencia del perro andaluz y de la edad de oro con Buñuel?
El perro de andaluz fue muy rápido porque él quería hacer una cosa tipo Gómez de la Serna, un periódico, que se ve todo lo que pasa en el periódico y después al final tanta información, hay alguien que con una escoba se lo barría, en fin, una cosa que me pareció terriblemente vulgar. Entonces, como que tenía 60.000 francos, dije, ven enseguida, yo te hago un guión. Y me acababan de llevar una caja de zapatos, y encima de la caja de zapatos escribí El perro andaluz, que después lo hicimos juntos, con una colaboración absolutamente fraterna. O sea, nos divertimos muchísimo con lui.
On a pensé faire Chien Andalou à cause des rêves que nous avons eus.
Lesquels?
Un rêve de... Lui rêvait qu'il y avait la main pleine de fourmis. Il m'a raconté le rêve. Et moi, j'ai rêvé un couteau qui coupait un œil. Alors, il a dit, on pourrait faire un film avec ça, avec des éléments comme ça, irrationnels. Et nous avons écrit le scénario en 7 jours.
7 jours.
7 jours. Ouais.
Quelle était la règle d'écriture?
La règle était refuser toute image qui pouvait avoir une explication rationnelle, ou des souvenirs, ou due à la culture. C'est-à-dire toute image qui nous apparaissait. Et nous la trouvions impressionnante, qui nous impressionnait, on l'acceptait sans discuter.
Vous aviez un droit de veto l'un sur l'autre?
On ne l'a pas employé. Non, le veto consiste à dire je n'aime pas ça. Et l'autre disait en effet, n'est pas bien.
Dali went to Paris to shoot the film with Buñuel. He made a brief appearance in his favorite scene, dressed up as a Jesuit priest.
The shooting of the scene of the rotten donkeys and the pianos was a rather fine sight, I must say. I made up the putrefaction of the donkeys with great pots of sticky glue, which I poured over them. I also emptied their eye sockets and made them larger by hacking them out with scissors. In the same way, I furiously cut their mouths open to make the white rows of their teeth show to better advantage, so that it would appear that although the donkeys were already rotting, they were still vomiting up a little more of their own death, above those other rows of teeth formed by the keys of the black pianos. The whole effect was as lugubrious as 50 coffins piled up into a single room. Chien Andalou is an animated Dali painting, an admirable sadistic realization appealing to everyone's latent masochism. Un Chien Andalou, that succès de scandale, marked my first Parisian recognition.
Who made world history? Not the most reasonable people, the madmen did.
Yes, that's very true.
So if the painting is the mirror of a time, it must be mad to have the true image of what the time is.
Yeah, that sounds a very dangerous parallel.
Dangerous. Everything is dangerous.
Because if art is to be mad as the politicians are mad...
No, we are mad in a very different way.
Yes, I suppose
exactly
that is the great difference, isn't it?
Yeah. To one madness we oppose another madness.
Yes. So the irrational in art is an absolutely essential ingredient, do you think?
It is essential.
Yes.
Having exposed himself to a flood of new influences and ideas, Dali decided to return to Spain and immersed himself in painting.
From the moment of my arrival at Cadaqués, I was assailed by images of my childhood.
Wow, that was completely fantastic. My ghoulies were in for a real treat. Some of them may be a bit confused because not too many other horror hosts tried to raise the level of artistic understanding like the doc. But, you know, I mean, there's too many petty things going on in this town as it is, and we've got to try to, you know, stir some interest and some education out there somehow. But why don't you tell me a little bit more about this film?
Well, it was the first surrealist film, and if you watched it closely, there were, like looking at my paintings, there are connections, associations that you can begin to make in the film. If I was watching it right now again, I could point those out, but certainly there's recurring little motifs like the bike rider's outfit that represents, you know, part of his psyche, and that gets taken off and thrown away, and he goes through some changes, and if you watched carefully, he actually at one point murders one side of himself there when the hands turn into guns in a sense, and he kills a side of himself that he can't deal with. So it's very psychological. I don't think I can give a definitive symbolic analysis because it's very open-ended too, and Dali really left it open-ended. And if I did attach onto the film, if you had time to watch it, Dali and Buñuel, who both made it, but they were both surrealists in the 20s. And that was 1928, by the way. It was pretty racy for 1928 and pretty overwhelming and shocking, you know, to the art community at that time, because there wasn't anything quite like this dream-like film. The way it was put together didn't have your normal Aristotelian plot, you know. It was confusing at first, but if you look closely and you watch it again and again, there's lots of connections you can make that is almost like free association in the dream. What Freud called free association really isn't so free. There's connections, there's symbolic implications that the unconscious makes that consciously you're not even aware of, but there's like meaning there. And I think we're always looking for more meaning in life and more meaning in happenstance. And I think this film kind of deals with some of that rationality of the irrational, in a sense.
I don't know, maybe, I'm thinking, from my point of view, it seems like people aren't looking for a lot of meaning in life a lot of times these days.
Well, they want to be entertained, of course, and that's the problem with our culture, is they want instant entertainment. I don't know if this is going to turn into a critique of our culture, but I have very strong opinions.
We've critiqued the culture in Kenosha incredibly on this show, believe me. You know, we don't leave a lot of stones unturned, you know, but we get an equal helping of insults and criticism back our way constantly here on Crimson Theater. People have no idea what a horror host show is or have a good time. And, you know, we got to try to raise the standards all the way around with Kenosha.
Is that why you're showing Bucket of Blood?
Well, Bucket of Blood isn't so bad. I know you haven't seen it.
Who made that film?
Roger Corman made that film. Roger Corman made it, who did a lot of the gothic thrillers with Vincent Price, but this is back in the 50s before that. This takes place in sort of a beatnik cafe, and it's about a guy who's desperately trying to fit in with the artistic society, like, you know, so many kids out there want to be punk rockers now. But he can't make it, just like they can't, and it's just one thing spirals into another, but it's good fun. I think you'd like it. And didn't you...
does he try to get a gimmick?
Oh, he's got a gimmick. I think he puts his bodies in plaster and stuff like that, and it's not as bad. We could have got
there's a British artist right now who's making waves, who is showing not only sliced animals in formaldehyde, but human parts.
Yes, I've heard about that
formaldehyde.
One. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one.
And displayed in such a way that it becomes this almost abstract visual entity that, and yet once you know what it is, it's gruesome. Say, but yet he's he's making it in the art world.
I know he's the
So
guy with
it's-
the big tanks with the blue.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's probably not a far cry from tonight's
No.
movie. Actually, you should see it. You'd be surprised.
I'll
But it's really, it's pretty. You know, it's pretty much fun. It's not very hardcore. I really don't like the slasher films. I don't know if you knew that or not. I think, you know, as I said a million times on Crimson Theater, the movie Halloween is the absolute worst thing that ever happened to the holiday. It's just a slasher film. I like the old classics, you know. Your silent film reminded me a little bit of, like, you know, The Golem and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari,
Yes,
Expressionist films.
These are historical films of people really having fun with expressing themselves, but not ignoring the deeper meanings at the same time. By slasher film, you mean
guts, gore, you know, psycho
mean
killers on the loose,
blood
just
for
like real
blood's
life.
sake.
Real life, you know.
All right.
That kind of thing, you know, like what goes on in real life, you know. That's just terrible, you know. Or it's, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, when if you've got a child, you would never tell the child that monsters are real. But born-again Christians say the devil is real all the time to small children, and they're telling them a monster is real. Now, if they explain that as a monster, and they can, you know, really handle that from a psychological point of view to be telling a child such a thing, you know, that's cool. But I think in most cases, you guys are way out of whack, and if your faith...
I don't think I'm going to go there.
If your faith is challenged by a jack-o'-lantern, you're the one with the problem.
Well, then that's a problem.
That's obviously the problem. Well, I got them to agree with me about something. I think we stand in agreement then.
I'm not going to go into religion and Christianity.
No, I'm not expecting you to, and I'm not trying to really offend anybody.
Because actually, I do
Joking
use
on.
some, you know, Christian.
Well, they
symbols
would
in
think
my-
that the doc could not be a Christian.
Yeah.
That's how I get insulted, because
Yes.
they
Well,
come up with the
that's
pamphlet. They come up with the pamphlet and say they're trying to save me. They don't know me well enough to be trying to save me yet. They're already, you know, passing judgment. And you know, there's only one person that's supposed to be able to do that. So
That's very good.
except when it comes to horror movies, and then that's me. Anyway, we've had a great time. So, but you know what? We're gonna have to show Bucket of Blood.
All right,
so
I'm ready to watch it now. Right?
Have we missed anything here? Is there any more we could talk
Well,
about?
just make it to the Anderson. If you've never been to the Anderson Arts Center, it's this great mansion, which I think you got a shot of there in that one part. But it's a fantastic institution of art in Kenosha that's maybe not as well known as it should be. And there's going to be a lot of cool people there on Sunday, maybe even your substitute.
My substitute, I don't know. I'm still, you know.
Or maybe your ex, I don't know.
Well, oh, now you're gone too far, buddy. You had to throw that in. Who knows what's going on with that? Axe the X.
My ex
and
might
tonight's
be there.
feature, Bucket of Blood. Now the correlation is there. I finally figured it out. And we've got Bucket of Blood, even though it smells like a bucket of something else. And, well, you're seeing Bucket of Blood on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, where you need a little more aquaviolet in your...
More purple.
More purple!
My blood is kind of purplish red.
Oh, well, that would be crimson, wouldn't
Yes,
it?
exactly.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, ghoulies, you get to the movie, and we'll come back and chat after. All right, ghoulies, there you are again. And what did I say, Dennis? How did you like Bucket of Blood?
Almost as good as Romero, but not quite. Not quite as good as Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, he's throwing it in there already, I see.
So I like to critique things. I'm pretty critical. And I'd like to say a few words about your painting, actually. I wonder why this hat isn't in there yet.
I'll have to be in the next painting, I guess. I don't know. I like this hat better, but we'll see. You know, it's changing. I'm trying to, you know, follow in somebody's footsteps here, you know, and you never know what you're going to step in on Crimson Theater. But go ahead, let it rip.
Well, first of all, it's really nice that it's full size, and that's challenging to do for an artist, number one. And it's impressive because, of course, it's pretty dependent on Albright, as you know.
Of course.
You
That's
know,
the
he's
entire
paying
premise.
He's paying homage to Ivan Albright, who, of course, you could see at the Art Institute. I think, though, that, of course, this coloration is a little more, you know, maybe adventurous in some ways. One thing you could still probably learn from him is more glazing, more layering of the paint to create some. I know, from having Doc in class once in a while, he always goes for the jugular right away with the darks, and he gets dark real fast here. And sometimes it's nice to build your darks more slowly through layering. And that would be one. I like the darks, but they're almost, some of the darks are a little dead,
Well, I don't know. We're finding out, though, here in Crimson.
But I think a little more layering in some places, you can look into those deep darks and find even more meaning. But I like the.
It is in progress.
I like the additional symbols he's adding, and it's like a living painting that keeps on developing. So I think that is in the spirit, of course, Oscar Wilde and so forth. I like that aspect. I think your persona might become a little more animated. The eyes are so important in a painting, and the little subtle expressions. When I do a portrait, I try to vary them each time. Sometimes I'm kind of scowling, or I'm squinting, or I'm winking, or there's a sly little smile. And but eyes are pretty important. And one eye here is a little bigger than the other. I don't maybe.
Well, that depends on the morning. What happened the night before. You never know. I couldn't be there.
But there's some very interesting symbolic attributes here. Now, who is this again?
That's from The Vampire's Kiss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that part so small?
That's a good question, but I don't have an answer. Just seemed to fit in there, I was looking for places. Since I started with the premise of the Albright, then I have to kind of...
I almost would like to see that more integrated, more worked into this. This is like a chair?
Actually, that was sort of a room divider, sort of.
Oh, like a screen.
Behind the cat, yeah.
It might somehow work into the surface better on there. I think it sort of fits into the rhythm, but you almost need to play with the rhythms more.
Well, then there's got to be more space for more characters. We probably will never run out of horror flicks, and for every creature to show up somewhere in the painting, we have to reach out
that's
of
going to
room.
be active, but that's
yeah, it might get beyond the Albright. It might
I
lose a lot
love
of
the
that.
jacket and how these images are starting to reveal themselves.
Oh, they will reveal themselves. That is, as time goes on.
great.
I keep it a living painting connected with Crimson Theater. This is probably one of the more down-to-earth, let our hair down episodes. We're kind of just trying to throw it out there for the ghoulies to get more involved in the fine arts. And, great classic Godzilla movies and all are great special effects. I like the Godzilla films especially, just because of all the miniature cities and the rubber suits and all the creativity that has to go into making them. That's one of the strong reasons that I like the horror films, is because of so much more creativity has to go into making one of those than a police drama or, one of those midlife crisis movies you'll see on
As far as the set,
Network.
you mean, the whole setting, the
Yes.
stage set.
The mood.
This painting has a great mood, I think, of the stage set, which is, excellent. And I think that's just needs to be pushed further and further. I want to see it again in 6 months.
All right.
See where you go for it.
That's right. Well, I needed some good, solid advice, because, you never know in Crimson Theater. All kinds of things are going on here, and usually lots of problems. I mean, we've got a guy that's got a cemetery business in the dungeon downstairs, and the bodies are piling up. I mean, various cast members disappear and then reappear, cause troubles. It's all kinds of problems on Crimson Theater. But we're really glad to have had you. You've been great, and I have to invite you back for one of my dinner party shows if you'd like to come. You can bring a guest.
What's on the menu?
That's up to whoever's cooking that day.
Oh.
Whether there's an actual dinner or sometimes the actual dinner will be at my place later, the summer cottage.
This painting is making me a little hungry, but
Now you opened up a can of worms.
it must be the coloration down here. But fantastic. All this makes it look like a salad here.
Oh, there's a salad on Crimson Theater. Hey, is there going to be salad on the menu? I don't know. What do you like? What's your favorite dish? We'll have it on the menu for the big dinner party, which, by the way, Ghoulies, you can attend if you can find the doctor incognito at the Renaissance Fair.
I like soup. I like the entree soup to be very unusual. So I look forward to an unusual porridge to start with.
An unusual porridge. Is that kind of like the gruel from one of those Corman movies?
Yeah.
Anyway, Ghoulies, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We'd like to thank Professor Dennis Bayuzik one more time for showing up. And be sure to try to check out his exhibit that opens on July 20th at the Anderson Arts Center.
Yes.
And if you haven't been there yet, you better go check it out. Or, you know, if you're a young ghoulie entering Parkside, I think those art classes, some of them are on Breath of Knowledge.
Yes, oh, definitely. My 102 class is Breadth of Knowledge, and if you want to get the inside story on my psyche, take my 102. I have quite a dropout rate, but the people who stay there are pretty good.
I remember that one girl really was. Did she ever drop out, or did she just intensify the entire?
She actually dropped out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few, you know, it's you know,
You lose a few.
you could literally hear the Conte cranes breaking from the tension during the class. But if you ghoulies got, you know, they ought to give it a try. Come out and meet Dennis.
I've mellowed a lot in recent years.
So they've said. I think we got to get the old dictator back again. The old dictator, Dennis. I think you went easy on me here, and you know.
I've turned into Professor Purple.
Professor Purple. You know, we had a problem with the other professor we had in connection with this show. But you'll be the new professor for a while.
Professor Purple will return.
Professor Purple will return. And that's right, Ghoulies, that's all we've got time for. I hope you enjoyed tonight's features, and you know, it wasn't your average Crimson Theater program, and that's the way we're going to try to keep it. So you have a horrifying week, and we'll see you next time on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, where we're going to raise the level of things around here, I think.
Well, there you go, Ghoulies. I hope you enjoyed that. Very interesting episode flashback from 2003 with Professor Dennis Bayuzik. Now, some of the horror movie fans out there, you know, they probably might have been disappointed by this, but Crimson Theater isn't your
Wouldn't
typical.
be the first one of
No,
yours.
I'm sure it wouldn't.
No.
And we're not one of your normal horror hosts kind of show that follow a pattern like that guy. You know, it's come to my attention that the S word, well, appropriately, the S word, has now become the definition of what a horror host is.
I have heard that being bounced around in such trivial places. It's
Yes.
even written on the restroom walls.
That probably is. If you recall, we were talking outside of the castle here at the punk rock library in town, Southwest.
Yes.
It's a punk rock library, let me tell you. And those kids, remember what they said to me? Are you really him? And I'm like, it depends on who you're talking about. Of course, it wasn't me. It was the S word.
Of course.
Well.
Because it always is.
The audacity.
But you're always him no matter who approaches you. You can be him, you can be whatever pronoun you want to be.
Well, it's all about the pronouns in today's culture, isn't it?
That it is.
We want to thank Dr. Cryptosis for having such a progressive view
Yes,
on the matter.
He's very progressive.
You could be the D or the S, whatever you want to be.
Okay.
And you'll do a great job any way you look at it.
That didn't sound so good. Anyway, it was great to have Dennis on the show back then and show that silent film, the Salvador Dali silent film. People don't realize that stuff like this was the building blocks of what would come later in Universal horror, the Frankenstein films, which we've been doing a little focusing on those.
Of course.
Have you seen any of the classics?
You missed the best part.
Bride of Frankenstein.
What's that?
You have a Salvador Dali film, and nobody said, well, hello, Dali. Oh, man.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I just average. Don't give too much credit.
Does that mean you're going to sing Jolene for us tonight?
I will sing whatever it takes, whatever minutes you need filled.
I heard you did a lot of singing in jail that time.
I did.
We know why the caged bird sings.
Goodbye, Little Yellow Bird, which reminds us of the Dorian Gray Art Show, April 27th at the Vault downtown. Now, this is the Crimson Theater party it's the big one of the year.
Oh, man. I did that thing years ago when I was just a little horror host.
Uh-huh.
You had me set up on the sidewalk.
Were you on the sidewalk?
Yes,
That's
yes.
a good place for you.
I know, right in the gutter.
Huh? Well, that's where horror hosts come from. That's where they end up returning to.
That's a fact.
Okay. Glad we agree on something. Now, what's going on? How's your show going?
Oh, man, it depends. You know, if you're talking about something that's streaming or running around here and there, you know, if it's the streaming stuff, I have sworn that off. And I think that's why they've grabbed my certificate away from me.
What certificate?
The one that I was supposed to be having for being a certified horror host.
I don't think they sent it.
Yeah, I don't think you got the check. I think that's what the problem
we were supposed to go and review and I said there was going to be a top 10 horror host. Who's the top 10 horror hosts in our present time?
Oh,
I'll
man.
let you pick 2 for now.
I can pick 2. Oh man, can I pick you?
That would be awkward.
That would be awkward? Well, okay, Kai, I didn't really mean it. Don't get any wrong ideas.
Oh, well, there's nothing but wrong ideas on Crimson Theater.
Oh, man, if I had to pick a top horror host, man, I would, you know, that Hinton guy, that Bobby guy with the red suit, he would be one of my top
A. Ghastly
10s.
Ghoul.
Yes, that's
all
him.
right, let's put him on the list.
He belongs
Ghastly
on
Ghoul.
some list.
Uh-huh.
Okay, pick another. Your turn.
Oh, well, I would have to vote for Mistress Malicious.
Okay.
Ivana Cadaver. So now we've
yeah,
got 3.
she's up there. We're up to 3. At least we can count. That's a lot for horror hosts that we can get this figured out.
How
at
about
least
Slash
3.
Cooper?
Who?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes, but,
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I know that he knows me, and he's a friend of mine, and I'll still mention his name. That Bobby Gemscheister, Gemonster. That's what it is. Yeah. Let's throw him on the pile.
There you go. That's another one that's a search. I will vote for Slash Cooper then.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was Teen Wolf mixed with Back to the Future going on there, but he's diligent to say the least, right?
He is. They're all Dilla something or
And that Mad Ghoul.
The Mad Ghoul. He's all right.
Not Mad Ghoul. Mad Blood. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Guy from Australia.
Oh,
I had him on the show once. I should remember this.
Yes, I think that's the guy that contacted me not long ago.
It could be. I wonder if we still have that footage to throw in somewhere down the line too.
See, now we are totally lost. Now we don't remember what number we're at.
We're at number 5.
Are we at 5?
No, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not getting nothing on the monitor on where we're at. But
Numbers. It's not necessary. It's like scripts.
Wait a minute.
Scripts aren't necessary.
A. Ghastly Ghoul. And Slash Cooper, Ivana Cadaver, Mistress Malicious.
Okay.
So is that 4?
That would be, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to you.
All right, that's 4.
Okay.
Well, we need 6 more.
We need 6 more. You know who we should throw on the pile?
Who's that?
Is Count Gore.
Oh, you got to have Count Gore in there.
Count Gore.
How
he
foolish
should be
of me.
right at the top.
He is the epitome of everything great about horror hosts because he was actually paid to be a horror host for a number of years, decided to continue on after the TV station went bankrupt or whatever happened, and he was putting his show up on the web when he was using dial-up.
Oh, man. I knew he's old. He's probably the senior citizen of all the horror hosts that are out there.
I think you and him are a tie.
Oh, man. Okay.
But I'm not sure. Yes, Count Gore to foul makes 5, and that's in our time zone.
We'll know how old he is if we count his wrinkles.
I got to give a shout out to the monkey and the mummy, though. So that makes 7.
Sure,
okay.
That's 7. You know who else we need to throw in this pile that really deserves to be in this pile?
They all deserve it.
Yeah, that Borlos Karloff or Carlos.
Oh, he's ejected
Borloff.
from the pod.
Is he?
Oh,
man.
1 minute he's crying on Facebook and posted old 80s hair bands.
I tried.
I like the guy, but God.
Through it.
I'm going to the movies by myself again.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So I guess we can put him on there. Though.
Throw him on there. He deserves to burn with all of us.
Now, if we got 3 left.
We have 3 left if you're
we have
keeping
three? Has
good
anybody
count.
counted?
Who else could we throw in there? Do they have to be alive? They have to be active, huh?
Well, we could throw Count Cat on there. I mean, even though he didn't show up. Yeah, for this gig at the pumpkin farm, you know.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Shame.
Oh, let's.
And he demanded a $500 advance.
Oh.
Advance of what?
$500.
Oh, for just showing up at your place, huh?
But he didn't.
Well, listen, I got my $500 advance, so too bad for you, Mr. Vlad.
Hey, was there some money in that Horror Host Hall of Fame box?
I don't know.
No.
No
Okay,
money.
well.
Okay. Maybe this thing could be stuffed with money.
It could be. I'll have to check later.
You do that.
Anyway, Ghoulies, again, Dorian Gray Art Show, April 27th at the Vault. We're looking for horror hosts, so maybe Mistress Malicious or Freak Show Peterson.
He could show up.
He doesn't have a pizzeria to worry about right now, does he?
I believe he does not. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't
He'll
seen
have
anything
he'll
on the
have an
Facebook.
excuse to stiff the doctor again. That's for sure.
All he knows is he needs a ride. He needs somebody to drive in
And he
here.
needs someone to play a sappy sad acoustic song in the back seat while he's being escorted to Kenosha.
Yeah, that could be something else. Yeah, Trainwreck. Oh man, he is a piece of work.
Oh wow,
My buddy.
There you go.
Trainwreck.
See, you wonder why nobody likes you.
Well, he knows that I call him Trainwreck affectionately.
Okay, let's hope it's affectionately.
Yes, not too affectionately, but in the most positive sense.
Oh, we got to add Celeste and Morgan to the pile of horror hostess.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and what's his name? The Cinema Insomniac? Are we gonna put him in, or does he not
Who's that?
deserve to be? You know, the guy that looks like he was in a bad library scene. I think that's. Oh.
Is that the guy that looks like his mom cut his hair with a soup bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Okay, let's keep him out.
He was going to do some magazine or something, took everybody's money and got married and had a honeymoon on it or something. Can you imagine a horror host honeymoon? All laughs, I'm sure.
Oh, man. All laughs, no action.
Oh!
That would be it.
Depending on the host, you know.
Oh, yes, this is true.
With the horror host world seems to be full of lecherous old men and very hot younger women. I don't know how that scenario came together, you know.
I think, you know who I think? I think Dr. Cadaverino started that.
Yeah, maybe he did. I remember they...
Miss Nightmare? Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Miss Nightmare contest is very well known and renowned because the girl he ended up picking looked too colorful, didn't she?
Awfully colorful.
Yes, and my friends, I guess they had a girl that they got, this is back in, when was that? That had to be, he went off the air in 73, right?
No. That was the recoup of him. I was thinking.
Right.
Early,
Well, anyway, they wanted to have the Miss Nightmare Theater, and my friends in town supposedly knew some girl with black hair and did her all up, and she didn't get chosen, and what ended up happening was they chose this rather colorph I don't know.
She was rather plain, I would describe her, I think.
Well, cryptosis.
He's rather plain, too. He'll be on the plane right after this.
Cadaverino. He probably didn't want to be upstaged, you know.
Well, this is true. You know, and that's one of the things I'm doing with Cadaverino. I've got more of the mini figures.
The mini figures.
Oh, man. Those are so cool. Let me tell you.
I got to tell you what, the coolest minifigure is about to hit the scene any minute now.
I have heard that.
There's going to be a mini Pearl. It's funny. It's funny. She's
going to have a hat with a little tag.
No. But
wrong mini Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not Mini Pearl, but the figure's the Mini Pearl. Mini Pearl is Mini Pearl.
If you say so.
Mini Pearl and then Mini Pearl.
Mini me.
Don't clam up on me.
Mini Pearl.
Terrible conditions here on Crimson Theater. I think we've thoroughly investigated the horror. Well, not really the horror host scene and what's going on with that.
Maybe there are only 8 or 9. Well, you know,
I thought
my
we had
horror
10.
host
Did we
scene-
stop at 9?
We did.
With,
but do you
Celeste
want to
and
hear
Morgan.
about my horror host scene, or really don't give a crap? Yeah, I get it. Well, I'm going to tell you
Well,
anyway.
yeah, I know.
Tell us. Tell us.
I am the voice of the Highway 18 Outdoor Theater. That is my horror hosting now, and I totally love it. Yes, indeed. We even show horrible movies. I am the only horror host that had the opportunity this past summer to host the Barbie movie. Yes. Wow. I announced the Barbie movie. In fact, we even made money on that. We made money because the guy in Texas, that Rob Flitzel or whatever his name is.
Flitzel?
Yeah, you know, the guy that makes the little mini pearls and stuff and the mini cryptosises. You know, he made up a Malibu cryptosis version. And I wish I had some left, but we sold them all. They had pink jackets and fuchsia derbies and bleached blonde hair.
Fabulous.
Have you seen the Barbie movie?
I have seen bits and pieces of it.
Okay, because I got taken to task on the Book of Face.
Oh,
but
of course. Yeah.
someone said something about her, the actress Margaret Robbie not getting nominated for the Oscar, and I was like, well, I wouldn't think a Barbie movie is an Oscar material, but I guess there's a deeper story behind it. Not as deep as Poor Things, perhaps.
It's a popcorn movie.
Okay.
So it's the corporate feminism, the girl bossing, if you will.
Okay.
A little bit.
Well, we were going to present something that we were going to relate to Poor Things, and if you haven't seen the movie The Bride with Jennifer Beals from the 80s with Sting, and you really need to see that. It is available on YouTube. I think you can watch it for free, but I thought thematically there was a little bit of The Bride in Poor Things.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it's the same kind of themes of women's independence. You know?
Awakening.
Yes, an awakening, a new type of woman.
Like
a reckoning.
Like a Georgia O'Keeffe opening up to the world.
Speaking of good paintings.
Yeah, well, speaking of art students. You know who Georgia O'Keeffe is?
I do. I've seen her street sign every time I go through the Sun Prairie City.
Okay.
She's from there, I guess.
Oh, really?
I don't think she's hanging
you
around
go.
out there anymore.
You learned something on Crimson Theater about art, painting, and various other things. That
We
you
get some culture here.
Common fools.
Yes.
Now,
We are not.
We're educated fools.
Now, speaking of culture, I hope you've got a basket of Dr. Cryptosis urinal cakes for the port.
Man, I have...
An intervention has to occur, and...
I have the urinal
It's
cakes.
time.
I understand the port has problems with their urinals, the sweetness and so forth, but
the
they
thrill is
have
gone.
the urinal cakes have been the hit. They have been the hit of this season.
A
No
pop
one
culture
else.
phenomenon.
They are.
Uh-huh.
They are. You know, there were 24 people that participated in Cryptosis's Dr. C's Quagmire quiz at the various events that I appeared at this year. 24 people got them in their Christmas stocking, or as a package under the Christmas tree, or strung up on a Hanukkah bush, or somewhere. They received those as gifts.
Well, they better look close to see what they got in a stocking if they got it from you.
They should, but I guarantee none of them were used before.
All brand new.
Before I got to them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wrapped.
Well, the intervention
Here,
may
wait.
or
I
may
think
not.
I might have one. Look at this.
You got one for
Oh,
Craig.
look at this. Here. There is the urinal cake in 3D. Yeah.
Now, there is
3D.
a warning for children not to think that's candy, right?
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to be chewing these for more than an hour.
Then again, this could be like the next Tide Pod.
Oh, God, the Tide Pod challenge.
The Tide Pod challenge.
Oh, sure.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yes, we'll see how long you can last with a Dr. Cryptosis urinal cake in your mouth.
Yes. You have to take it
All
out
kinds
of
of
the
problems on Crimson Theater. All right. The arts, the entertainment, the knowledge that you've gained tonight is it's
beyond.
We've given you all we possibly could tonight. So you have a horrifying week. We'll see you next time on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater.